Now, I don't plan on making this a long video, but it's a very necessary video for people who have goals, for people who are struggling with self-discipline, for people who need to do certain things, and it's hard for you to keep up with doing those certain things so that you can get the results that you need, whether it be something like dieting or whatever the case may be, working on your business, whatever the case may be. This video could be beneficial to anybody with that going on, but the channel is specifically for men, so that's who I'm talking to specifically. So I want you to think about something in your life that you know you should be doing to get to a certain goal that you have, something that you know you should have been doing, been supposed to be doing, but for whatever reason, it's hard for you to stay consistent with it, or you just don't do it at all, even though you know you should do it. Just think of something like that. And that's going to be pretty much what we're talking about today. So I want to take you back to this shoddy design that I made that I call the self-discipline matrix. I did a whole video on it. It's not one of my popular videos, but it's a necessary video for people who are trying to get things done and things of that nature. And basically, this is what it highlights. On the left, you have the action of discipline, which means, okay, are you trying to diet or are you trying to, get better at basketball, whatever the case may be? That would be the action of discipline, the thing that you need to do. On the bottom, it's the motivation. Pain is one of the best motivators. So we measure the pain at the bottom. Is it a low pain issue? Is the issue that you're dealing with, is it a low pain issue that doesn't really cause you that much pain? Or is it a high pain issue to where the pain is just insufferable? And with that, you have the 4 quadrants of the matrix, and I'll explain those very briefly. So when we look at something that is enjoyable, yet the pain as far as the motivation is high, the example that I give is, let's say you were a bodybuilder and you absolutely love working out, but you pull a muscle. You tear something, whatever the case may be, and you are in a lot of pain when that happens. The road to recovery, you're going to have to do rehabilitation exercises. You're going to have to stay consistent with those. You're going to have to be on top of those. You're going to have to be on top of everything related to that. You already enjoy working out, right? And as far as the pain, it is very immense. So that pain is going to push you towards doing the thing that you already enjoy to do. So those two things combined, that quadrant in the lower right, that is going to be the easiest things for you to do. That's going to be the easiest thing. So things that you actually enjoy doing, but pain, a high level of pain is motivating you to do that. When we go to the left, bottom, the lower left, this is where you do something that is enjoyable, but the pain is low. The pain is really not even a motivator. So just to make something simple, we could go back to working out and you just like doing that and you are already fit. So there's really nothing compelling you to work out as far as anything pain related. You just love to do it. So those are things that are also easy to do. I'll give you another one. If you look at an activity like streaming video games or playing video games and stuff like that, it's something you enjoy to do. And we'll just even say that you got a good job, so you don't need any money from streaming the video games or something like that. So there's no pain really motivating you to play those video games on stream. It's just something cool that you want to do. So that whole bottom quadrant, those are things that are pretty easy to do. But on the right side, that's when it's necessary. So the left side is unnecessary, the lower left bottom. The right side is enjoyable but necessary. That's the thing, it's necessary. Now, this is where things get tougher. Let's go to the upper right. You have something that is high pain or moderate to high pain, as far as, whatever the motivation is, as far as the situation, but it's unpleasant to do. It's either moderately or highly unpleasant. So let's take another example. Let's go back to the exercising and stuff like that. You have a guy who is fat, who has never been athletic in his life. He doesn't like to work out. He absolutely hates it. But for whatever reason, walking or whatever, he pulls a muscle in his leg, like, his hamstring or something like that, or, something happens with his lower back, whatever the case may be. And now he has to do something that he not only hasn't been doing, but that he doesn't like doing, which is exercise consistently. It is going to be hard for him to do that, but he's still going to do it because the pain is going to motivate him to be on point. It's to the point where he feels like he has no choice. You got to do this stuff that you don't like. And yeah, could it be transformative for him? It definitely can, but that's what it is. Now, when you get to that upper left, that is what I call where self-discipline truly lies, where your discipline is truly tested. And I mentioned that in my other video that I did about the Matrix and stuff like that, but I'll give you an example here because it's something that is very unpleasant, but there's not a lot of pain motivation for you. So we could take a guy, right? We could take just any guy. He could be fat, he could be skinny, but he can't be muscly. So just a fat or skinny guy. They kind of would like to look more fit. They kind of would like to have those muscles. They think about, it would just be cool to have. It could probably change my life. Probably, I don't know. But they are not really sold on the idea. Even if you look at what I mentioned, there is no pain linked to the motivation. So when you don't have pain linked to the motivation, is the motivation really compelling in the first place? Because this motivation, you could say, is positive motivation, but it's still not compelling no matter how you put it. So what happens? These guys, they may go and work out one time. They're not used to this. They don't like the pain. And guess what? This is what a lot of people do. They get their gym membership at the top of the year. And this is what the majority does. They get their gym membership at the top of the year. By March, a lot of them either cancel or they just let that bad boy sit and don't continue to go to the gym. They don't go to the gym. And just to keep it simple so we can move on, this is the hardest place to be because as far as the action, you don't like doing the action of discipline. You don't like doing it. But on top of that, you are not really motivated to do it. You are not really motivated by pain to do that. Now, this is when we get to the purpose of the video. Back in the day, you can see this is 12 years ago. Used to watch E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. And one of the things he used to harp on is, what is your why? There's some things that he mentioned, like the concept of miracle territory, which, just to give you that concept, I'll give it to you in a moment. But Simon Sinek, he also did a TED Talk 15 years ago that I also watched about what is your why. So these are things that, I heard them. They stuck with me to where I remember them to this day, but it really didn't resonate with me to where it was like, okay, I got to come up with a why, because the things that you are already motivated to do, you have a why for them already. You have a why for them already. And just to give you the miracle territory concept, what miracle territory is listen, you might not like going to the gym, but just get into the gym, like just get in the car, go in the parking lot, get out the parking lot and go into the gym. Once you are in the gym, you are in miracle territory. Anything can happen. One of the things that he did, he didn't like getting on a treadmill, but he said, bro, just get on the treadmill. If you get on a treadmill, that is miracle territory. Miracles can happen in that area of your life when you get on that treadmill, but they are not going to happen in the bed. They're not going to happen away from the treadmill. So miracle territory. But they both had videos, and this is a concept that a lot of other motivational gurus and stuff like that, they would say, but it really didn't resonate with me until I got an understanding. And this is the understanding. When you have things that are hard to do, when you understand that, okay, self-discipline isn't you doing something that pain is motivating you to do. You could think it is, and you could say that, okay, yeah, there's some degree of self-discipline, but that's not where true self-discipline lies, in my opinion. It lies in that upper left quadrant that I showed you, where it's an unpleasant action, but pain is not really motivating you to do it. But there's a reason you should be doing it. And this is the thing about that reason. It's two things, one of two things. Either number one, the reason is not compelling enough. You understand me? The reason that you were supposed to be doing this is not compelling enough. That's number one. But the second thing, as far as reason number two, is it may not be linked to pain at all, as far as the reason that you have. It just may be linked to, this is something that could enrich in my life. And while all of that sounds good, you are still not compelled to do it through reasoning, through the reasoning. So what I used to think is self-discipline is just doing what you were supposed to do when you were supposed to do it without procrastinating, regardless how you feel. That is what self-discipline was to me, but I have a deeper understanding of it at this point. And this is something that I learned, because what that leaves out is the motivation. It says, regardless how you feel, and you just leave the feelings out of it and you just do what you were supposed to do. That sounds good. Nobody's a fucking robot. I know some people would like to think that they are the machine and stuff like that they are the fucking T-1000, but you're not. And this is what I have realized. What I realize is something that is not going to shock any of you. All of you know this. But nobody does something for nothing. Nobody does something for nothing. And again, that might not even sound like something that you didn't know or didn't understand, but I'm going to give it to you so that you can understand it in this context. Even if you do something like a good deed, as far as giving change to a homeless man, there is a reason behind that action, especially if you value your money highly and you gave it to a homeless man. There is a reason behind that compelled you to go into your wallet and give it to them. And the reason is more than likely going to be linked to something like empathy and you seeing yourself in this person. Like, if I was in his shoes, I would definitely want somebody to give me some money as well. If you decide not to give them any money, that is a decision as well. And there's motivation behind that decision. I know people who have given a bum some money and they have given them a large sum, like, here, man, go get you some good food, eat good today, man, possibly stay in a hotel. This is change your life. And then they came back and seen that person high. They came back 2 hours later, seeing that person high out of their mind. So that compelled the person in the future to be extremely vigilant and damn near angry when a homeless person asks them for some money. So do you understand the two reasons that I just mentioned for those situations? They are linked to emotion. Do you understand that? They are linked to, it's not just like, oh, just some made up, like we just talking and it's just a fluffy reason or just not some. No, these are deep. These are deep. One is connected to you seeing yourself in a person. The other is someone not wanting to be taken advantage of, and they have pain associated with them being taken advantage of. But you know the difference between empathy and sympathy? Empathy is you putting yourself in someone's shoes. Do you think that homeless person is not in pain when it comes to them having to ask you for the money or just even them being homeless? No, that's a painful situation. So when you look at both reactions, they're linked to pain in some degree. Now, even if we just get past deep emotional reasons like those examples that I gave you and say something like, oh, you tell a chick, oh man, you got a big old fat butt. That's not linked to no pain. And that is not linked to like no empathy or nothing like that. You don't see yourself in her butt. You might see yourself in her guts, but you don't see yourself in her butt. But the reason you were doing that is not just because you are physically and sexually attracted to that woman. You want to have sex with that woman. It's that simple. And you want to do what, and that action is you trying to get closer to that goal of doing that. And we all know as men how much we are compelled naturally, biologically, to get sex. So now with that understanding, You remember at the top of the video when I told you to think about those things that are hard for you to do, but you know you should be doing them? The reason that you are not doing them, especially if you know you need to be doing them, is because you are not emotionally compelled to do them. Now, this is the thing. You're not going to be able to rely on emotion by itself, because the thing about that is emotions are fleeting. They come and they go, they come and they go. And there are some times that you don't feel it. But what you need to do is have, number one, just one very compelling why. Just one very compelling why. But my advice on how to get that why is two things. Number one, you want to make a list of reasons, a long list of reasons why you should do it as far as the benefits. And also, this is the second thing. Outside of benefits, within that list, you want to make sure you highlight some things that are linked to pain, whether it be you losing something or it be you not achieving something or whatever the case. You got to link it to something to where you look at it and like, it's like, I don't want to be in that situation. I don't want that to happen. And it doesn't have to be extreme. It doesn't have to be death or anything like that. Nothing crazy. But it has to be something to where it's like, yo, you could say this to yourself and it's like, you know what? You're right. You're right. I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to make it to 45 and still be trying to figure things out. I don't want to have to end up at the doctor talking about complications that are caused by something I could have worked on. But you got to sit down and you got to come up with those reasons. So those are the two things that you do. You write a list and you put the positive and you put the negative as far as things that will motivate you, reasons that you should do it, reasons that you should do it. And what you do out of that is whatever the strongest one is, and it's likely going to be one of the negative things, you take that and you center that one. Now, if you want to take two, you take one positive and one negative, you make those your mantra. Even if you think, and this is the thing, if you think that the positive reason is compelling enough by itself, you could center that. But whatever it is, you have a solid 1 to 2 reasons out of the list that you make that are the most compelling. If we look at something like motivation, you know, if you got really bad anxiety, you could say, this is going to help me deal with my anxiety and help me calm down in those moments. And if I don't do this, then I am going to continue to have meltdowns that are uncontrollable. And I don't want that. I want to be in control of that. And when I say mantra, it's funny because that's a meditation thing. It's you basically repeating this over and over, whether physically, verbally, or in your mind, so that it gets ingrained into your mind. And this is the thing. When it comes time to do these acts of discipline, that is what you are going to go to. And you might even visualize the success. You might even visualize the failure, whatever the case may be. But you got to go there in your mind to compel you to do it. Why? Because, again, discipline is doing, what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, regardless how you feel. But, the regardless how you feel part is partially bullshit. Because what we are doing, we are not chasing a feeling with the why. That's not what we are doing. But the why is connected to a feeling. The why is going to be connected to a feeling to some degree. So you don't have to be oozing with emotion or motivation to do the thing. But the whole thing, the whole purpose of this video is the understanding that nobody, and I mean nobody, for the most part, nobody does something for nothing. So when you say, okay, I got to do it, if I got to do it by itself is not a compelling reason to do something that you don't like, which 9 times out of 10 it's not going to be, that's why you need the why. to remind yourself why you got to do this. And it's supposed to compel you to action to some degree. So I'm not here to redefine self-discipline. In some cases, you are avoiding temptation and things of that nature. So it's different in those situations. But I'm talking about situations where you have to take action that'll benefit you. And there's really nothing motivating you to do that. You have to figure out your why so that you can go to a reason to do it when you are having those tough times. And that should compel you to some degree. So that's my advice for today. And that's me giving you the understanding that, again, the most important thing you should take away from this is it sounds good to say, okay, I can go into robot mode and I could just do shit, that I don't want to do. And I'm not thinking about it and I'm just a machine. But that's not going to work for most people. And the reason it's not going to work for most people is because of this. Nobody does something for nothing. So figure out why you need to be doing what you have to do. That's it.